Good day, sir. My name is Tan Shu Chin with matrix number 204269. Now I would like to introduce my another two group members, which are Zawatu Ain binti Bahari and Sarah Sauda Salama binti Jamaluddin. The topic of our group choose for the literature review is zero-based budgeting. Our presentation will be separated into three parts, which are introduction, literature review, and conclusion. For introduction, we will be highlighting the purpose, the importance of issue, and the background of the topic. While for literature review, we will talk about the findings and importance of study, the patterns in findings, and also the critique of findings. And lastly, only we will talk about the conclusion. During our research review on ZBB, we have selected 6 empirical research journals. The purpose of the review is to gain an understanding of the existing research and debates relevant to a particular topic or area of study, and also to present that knowledge in the form of a written report. For the background of the topic, zero-based budgeting was developed and commonly used in the 1990s and 1980s. ZBB is a series of budgeting planning strategies where its intent is to increase the management control of demands for funding from the department in order to maximize productivity in the distribution of resources within any operation in the organization. However, according to Langfield Smith on 2015, ZBB can be very costly and time-consuming as it requires little in-depth budget review and therefore can be only used for 3 or 4 years or for some parts of the business. Next, I would like to highlight 3 importance of the issue. Firstly, ZBB encourages managers to re-evaluate each cash flow statement line item and justifying all the expenditure that the department is going to incur. Apart from that, it also allows a better alignment of expenditure with overall strategy and departmental missions. Furthermore, it also forces companies to justify all operating costs and take into account which part of the business produce sales. Next, I'll be passing my presentation to the next person.
Hi, my name is Zaratul Ain binti Bahari. My metric number is 204063. So next is research journal titled The Adoption of Management Accounting Practices in Malaysia Small Medium-Sized Enterprise. The purpose of this research paper is to show evidence on the adoption of a broad range of management accounting practices in Malaysia SMEs in the manufacturing sector. This research paper was conducted by surveying 1,000 Malaysian manufacturing firms in SME sector. This research paper was written by Kamila Ahmad in 2014. From the study, we found that zero-based budgeting are categorized under low extent of use level. In other words, zero-based budgeting is the least favorite of budgeting approach by SMEs. The author observed that the small number of firms using zero-based budgeting in their budgeting system is due to firms in SMEs prefer conventional management accounting rather than more recently established approaches. Okay. The importance of this finding is that we can conclude that adoption of traditional management accounting techniques is higher for established practices compared to more recently developed practices. Overall, on critique, based on this study, is that this research paper is a general research paper. The author not specified its research on zero-based budgeting. It only gives us brief overview on the statistic of firms using zero-based budgeting. In the report, it tells us the number of companies using zero-based budgeting techniques on their budgeting system, but was not clarified further in the report. Next is zero-based budgeting, employees' perceptions and attitudes in Brunei public sector organizations. The purpose of this research paper is to investigate the perceptions and attitudes of employees in some selected public sector organizations in Brunei Darussalam toward the adoption of zero-based budgeting. The research paper was conducted by distributed structured questionnaire on a face-to-face basis. The sampling of this research paper consists of financial units of 7 ministries. This research paper was written by Ala Aldin Abdul Ahmad in 2007. From the study, we can see that 47 officials or 70% of the respondents have a fair to poor understanding on zero-based budgeting techniques, while 52% are supportive or very supportive on the implementation of zero-based budgeting in their budgeting system, while 20% are unsupportive of. The author also listed several benefits and disadvantages from zero-based budgeting implementation. One of the benefits of zero-based budgeting is that zero-based budgeting lets managers reallocate capital from lower to higher priority areas and offers deeper visibility into the comprehensive activities of agencies and divisions to top management. For disadvantages, the respondent noted that a great deal of time and effort would be needed on the part of agency personnel for the zero-based budgeting right-of-way implementation, therefore restricting their ability to perform other essential functions. Okay. The importance of this study is that we can conclude that despite the lack of familiarity and problems which might be encountered, there is a considerable support among the respondents towards zero-based budgeting implementation. Overall, on critique based on this study is that the author explained and organized the results nicely, and the research paper is easy to understand and to follow. The research paper also enhanced our understanding about zero-based budgeting potential benefit and disadvantages. Okay. Last but not least is zero-based budgeting system. Is budgeting system the determinant of budget implementation in Nigeria? The purpose of this study is to find out whether or not the theoretical benefits accruable to zero-based budgeting can motivate the governments, ministries, departments, and agencies to adopt and implement the proposed new system. The study was conducted by distributing questionnaire to the budget stakeholder. This research paper is written by Abu Ada in 2016. From the study, we found that the results obtained from the data is in line with the people's enthusiasm and readiness to adopt and implement the zero-based budgeting. The adaptation of zero-based budgeting technique also will enhance companies' budgeting system, and that theoretical advantages attributable to zero-based budgeting have an effect on adoption and implementation of proper zero-based budgeting. Okay. The importance of this study is that we can conclude budgeting system has a strong relationship with implementation. And our overall own critique about this study is that this study gives us a better understanding on the effect of zero-based budgeting implementation as motivated to influence people towards changes. This study is more complex rather than the previous studies because it assesses the importance of zero-based budgeting in terms of its function as motivator.
Now we are going to the body part. The fourth
journal is Factors Affecting Implementation of Zero-Based Budgeting in Chemical Organizations. So the purpose is to investigate factors affecting the implementation of zero-based budgeting in chemical industries. So the methodology is Evelyn 2019 used description survey study designed to analyze factors influencing zero-based budgeting implementation in the chemical industry. So this is finding of a relevant study. The study found that the firm technique, organizational variables, and budgeting process can reflect 45%, 23%, and 9% of the variability in zero-based budgeting implementation. Other than that, the study also found that decision packages were considered insignificant packages that were connected with the organization's goals. 72%. Organizational leadership was aligned with the organization's missions and vision, 90%, and a zero-based approach allowed the organizations to make prudential choices about how resources were deployed, 82%. So it concludes that by detecting the tasks, the company can prioritize zero-based budgeting has allowed managers to evaluate the extent of reducing costs. So the importance of this finding is it can help managers determine the scope of reducing costs. For the overall critique, we can see the straightforward and ordered picture of the outcome obtained by looking at the calculation conducted. In the presence of such account, any result obtained and formulated can be trusted without hesitations. The knowledge presented is very helpful for us to fully understand the implementation's effectiveness. Therefore, it helps to improve knowledge to certain organizations and prospective academics who want to move into zero-based budgeting implementations. Moving on to the next journal, this comparative analysis of zero-based budgeting and incremental budgeting techniques of government performance by Sunny, Joseph, and Emmanuel. So the purpose is to revolve on the comparative analysis of zero-based budgeting and incremental budgeting techniques of government performance. The methodology is qualitative research, which examines a sample size of 2,029 staff members. So his research assessed if there's a big variation between zero-based budgeting implementations and time-consuming incremental budgeting methods, resources allocations, or others. So this is the finding of relevant studies. So the implication of important of findings is to overcome management problems during federal budget process and to encourage all layers of management to participate in analyzing and prioritizing funding requests. For overall own critique, Sunny, Joseph, and Emmanuel successfully testified about the difference of zero-based budgeting and incremental budgeting excellently. The next journal is designing zero-based budgeting for public organizations. So the purpose of this research is to provide users with a step-by-step guide to designing zero-based budgeting for public organizations. The methodology is qualitative research, which they examine the actual experience of several organizations that have implemented the zero-based budgeting method. So this research is conducted by Muqdad Ibrahim in 2019. The next one is finding in relevant study. Okay, Ibrahim, his research was done by carrying out a critical analysis of all the research and case studies performed on this topic. So he concluded that the greater participants of all levels of management and the restrictions of budget allocations are some of the advantage provided by the zero-based budgeting to institutions. The importance of findings is to overcome certain management problems associated with the federal budget process. So our overall own critique for this research is researchers provide crucial steps to implement ZBB because there are a few mistakes
when he reviews several organizations' implementations, which is very good. With clear and concise guidance from the most important step to define decision units for performance assessment, he presented an overview of the appropriate steps in conducting a zero-based budgeting. He also states that in order to evaluate the success of decision units in meeting their demands, future research is required to analyze multiple variables, which is very good.
Thank you, Atul. Based on our study, the study done by Ada A on 2016 is the most detailed compared to the other research journals. This is because it assesses whether ZBB can motivate people to implement a new system rather than only investigate the importance of ZBB in general. It was found on the basis of the study that the theoretical advantages attributable to the ZBB might have an effect on the acceptance and implementation of the proposed ZBB. Statistical findings also reveal that any budget's performance relies on a budgeting system, which means that the budgeting system is closely related to the implementation process. In conclusion, zero-based budgeting prioritizes the presentation of the department's actual costs. Although this method of budgeting is time-consuming, this is a more appropriate means of budgeting. This involves all-inclusive review of the budget plan, and if the administrators make minor variations in order to obtain what they intend, they are likely to be exposed. After considering its relative advantages and disadvantages, ZBB must be a collective consensus decision within an organization. Here is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your kind attention.